All righty, we are live. Oh, yep, yep. Okay, sweet. Okay, we're live. We're back with another office hours, GA4 tag manager, analytics, whatever office hours. Today I want to talk about a couple big changes that have happened with Google Analytics for this week. Two big ones. Well, one of them happened last week, but one happened this week. So the biggest one is that Google has changed their formatting for their cookies. And now I will just preface this with saying, as always, I'm not a super technical person, so I don't know code very well. I am not um, um, a super technical person. So with that being said, I would recommend checking out, let me see, this blog post by David Vallejo. Um, he is brilliant. He does a lot of work with Google Analytics for Google Tag Manager, just tagging stuff in general. He's built a lot of Chrome extensions that are super helpful, but he breaks down what the format changes were, why they happened, and what they might affect. Now, most notably, if you are using measurement protocol, as in you are porting information into Google Analytics for using some sort of API, it's probably broken. So I would definitely take a look at that. And the reason is because what we used to see, this is what the Google Analytics cookie used to look like. And you can see that they use this like dot notation, right? So every time there's a dot, it's starting a new thing, right? So he breaks it down here. This such a good blog post, but he breaks it down here. So the first thing just says that it's the format number. Then you have the version number, the session ID, session number, whether it was an engaged session or not, last hit timestamp, join timer, user login state, and then user ID hashed. And so, but this is what the new one looks like. So you can see we moved from that dot notation to now we are using the dollar signs to separate each piece of information. And that's going to be an issue because if your measurement protocol wasn't set up in a way to understand this, then we can have some issues. And he has um, code on here that might be helpful for like parsing that information if you're parsing it somewhere. Basically, all I'm saying is check in on if you're using measure protocol specifically. Definitely make sure you check in on that data and see if it's still streaming, see if it's streaming correctly. Okay, so I will drop this blog post. I'm going to drop it in the comments right now. Let me see here. Post a comment. All right, GA4 cookie update. Okay, well, it says GA $ cookie update, whatever. Okay, y'all know what I mean, right? Okay, so that's first and foremost. Definitely look into that. If you're seeing weird numbers in your Google Analytics 4 property, you're going to want to look into that, right? Okay, so this is another thing that happened either last week or the week before, but I only have seen it implemented in one of my accounts so far. Let me see if it's, yeah. So this is my Google Analytics 4 account. It's been running for a while here. And when you come into the admin section, this is what we're used to seeing. Okay, this is how it's been for a long time. So if you click on events, it's going to show you all of the events, the event count for the last 28 days or whatever you set this date range to. It shows you the count, it shows you the user count, and then you're able to toggle this on or off to mark it as a key event, right? And then we have this separate section here, key events, and you will see the key event, the count, the value if you set a value, and you're able to click on these three dots and change the counting method and change the event value. You can also create key events here and create and modify events in here. Now this has changed. So like I said, I have it in one of my accounts. I can't share that account. So let me go to my LinkedIn. I made a post about this, but I want to chat a little bit about it. Okay, so this is actually, I don't know if you can see that if I do it that way. So LinkedIn, how do I do this here? Make it bigger. What happens if I make this big screen? Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically now we don't have a key events and an events section in this in our admin section of GA4. We just have this events option. So when you click into this events option, you get a screen that looks like this. And it's a bit frustrating because I feel like it's highlighting things poorly. But nobody asked me. So, but you can see we have one section. It shows you automatically, you jump in and you just see your key events listed. That's it. So we have our key events here. And then you have options to create an event, to edit the attribution settings, to do custom configuration, and you even have the option to debug. Now, this part I do think is cool. You can click on this and it opens up a debug window for you to like test your events and whatnot. So I guess that part's nice. But not great. Okay, so again, I feel like this is a little bit putting emphasis on the wrong things. So you look at this, automatically your eye is going to go to the one thing that doesn't look like everything else, which is this create event button. When you click on that create event button, you get a screen that looks like this. So you can set your event name. And then from here, if you want to create that event without using any code, then you can tap into a specific event that's already being pushed in. So in this, it automatically is set to page view, which again, hate that as well, or form submit. And then you just put in, it gives you a condition of URL contains, and then you would just type in the URL here. So in theory, if they're going to a thank you page, it would be event name is page_view, URL is or contains thanks. If you click on this view more options, this is going to open your traditional event builder. So you're able to tap into any event. So if you are using like a video complete event, right, you can then use different conditions, and so you can use different events, different conditions, so on and so forth. So that's where the event builder that we're used to lives now. And then you can mark it as a key event right in the screen. So you can actually see that's like once you click on your event or like set your event name, the next thing it asks you is if you want to mark it as a key event. And if you do toggle it on and say, yes, you do want it to be a key event, then it's going to ask you what you want to set the value to. So you can do it there. Again, so my biggest issue with this is I highly recommend, I tell all of my clients not to create events in Google Analytics 4. I did a study a couple months ago where I went through all of the GA4 setups that I had access to, and over 80% of them, or like 85% of them really, had incorrectly, like one of the issues that they had during their audit was that they had incorrectly set up GA4 events created in GA4. And the reason that that's so common is because in order to effectively set up events using this create event function in GA4 is you have to really understand the data structure of GA4. And most people don't understand the data structure of GA4 very well. I mean, I still am learning more about the data structure all the time. So it's very easy to set things up incorrectly here. It's also very easy to lose things here. So if you set up an event here, but you also have like 10 events coming through Google Tag Manager and 4 events that are getting pushed to the back end, the tag manager and the back end things are somewhat easy to find and troubleshoot, but I'd imagine people are forgetting that there are events created in here all the time. And there's no easy way to find that unless you know to come in here and look at the created events. So yeah, I just, again, highly recommend not using this, but they're making this button really prevalent and it's kind of freaking me out. But alas, the next thing in this event. So again, this is just the events section of the admin in the admin section. So the next thing next to create an event is your attribution settings. Now, again, I feel like this kind of gives a wrong idea because yeah, you can come in here and change your attribution settings, which is really about the attribution model that you're using and the lookbacks. The lookback windows, I don't really care that much because it says key event lookback window. In theory, hopefully people will understand that. But what's worrisome about this to me is that the reporting attribution model is only applied to your key events. So in GA4, we have 3 different types of attribution. We have user attribution. So the first time somebody comes to your site, we have session attribution, which is similar to what we use in universal analytics, and is what you see if you look at like session source medium, right? It's used for every session. So the first user medium is always going to be the same. Session medium will change with every session. And then you have something that's just called medium or source or campaign or whatever. So it has no prefix. And that is specific to key events. It only applies to key events. So it's 3 different types of attribution. And this right here, where it says attribution settings, reporting attribution, this only affects your key events. So if you come in here and set this to last click, it's only going to affect the key events and you're going to see different information, but from your key events versus your regular events that are happening. So yeah, don't love that, but hey, whatever. And then the next section here is the custom configuration. So this is where you can see all of the custom events that have been created, and you can also modify your events. So if you are troubleshooting a GA4 property, if you're auditing a GA4 property setup, then definitely come in here and look at the custom events. This is going to show you all of the auto migrated events, all of the events that were created in the account, and all of the events that have been modified in the account. So always come in here and check, like I said, because there's usually issues in here. If anything's been set up, there's usually an issue. And also it's a very easy way to see if a property was auto migrated because the auto migrations, that's how, because in universal analytics, how things were set up in universal analytics, when they auto migrated everything into GA4, they just all fell into custom events because they were created for them in the platform. So this is where they all live. Okay, now to see the actual event, like what we know right now to be the event section, you will have to toggle over to recent events. And that's going to take you to something that looks like this, which is the closest thing to today's current events report that we're going to get. So it lists all of the events that you have that have fired recently, which is in the last 28 days. You don't get any other option. It's just in the last 28 days. You don't get the count. You don't get the user count. And yeah, really, this is all you're going to see. And then you can click on the star to mark it as a key event. So no more toggle. It's just starred or unstarred, and then it will get moved over into this key event section. If it is a key event. And so again, I have a few issues with this, mostly around the fact that I feel like it's hiding all of these recent events. I used to really use, I really did use these this event section as kind of like a gut check for a lot of my clients, where I would come in here and go, okay, did all of the events we set up, have they come through? Is there anything weird in here like this, right? Where I can see, okay, 18 shopping cart was fired 18 times. There were 9 users. That's double. Like, I would definitely need to go look into that, right? Like, so you can get at a glance very easily. You're able to kind of make, you know, some assumptions about what's going on. Don't look at my analytics numbers because they're all screwed up because I do a lot of testing my own analytics. And I don't really use my website analytics, which is bad. Do as I say, not as I do. But alas, yeah. So, and then this key event section, I would kind of be able to do the same thing where I could see, at a glance what was going on. I don't know, guys. I don't feel great about it, but I mean, I don't think it's gonna like screw everything up. I just don't love, the emphasis it puts on some things that I don't really want there to be emphasis on, is the attribution, creating events, the custom event, all that stuff. Doesn't look great, but whatever. So I know that there are a couple people in the stream. If y'all have any specific questions about anything, please drop them in the comments so I can go over them, because I would like to do that. I do know I did have somebody ask what my favorite reports were for it's on YouTube. They asked what my favorite reports were for reporting to clients around organic and paid like efforts. So usually I do everything if I go into acquisition, this would be traffic acquisition, but I changed this to source medium. I think we talked about this last week, but I like to use this report a lot. Let me change this demo to the demo account here because this is going to give you a better idea. My numbers are all messed up. Okay, so traffic acquisition. So in here, let me move this back over. In here, this is going to show you your session primary channel group by default. We're going to change this to session source medium. Okay, so this is where I like to go to report on efforts. First, this is the first place that I go. Okay, so let's say we're reporting for like SEO efforts. We can come in here and see all of the organic traffic, right? So all of these have a source, and then the medium is going to be organic. So just a heads up as well, I used to make a rookie mistake when I was creating UTM plans to like mark specific social traffic as organic social traffic, but then it makes it really hard to splice and dice like organic search versus organic social. So don't use the word organic in any of your other in your UTMs anywhere else, okay? Because we want to be able to see our organic traffic or be able to isolate it. So this is all organic traffic here, right? This is really interesting. You can see that they had a big bump in Baidu traffic starting the 29th of April here. So I would definitely be looking into that. But so this is what I would look at. I would see sessions, engaged sessions, average engagement time here. So a huge bump in that Baidu traffic, but they're not overly engaged. And then you can see events. Again, I don't think by itself this event count is helpful at all, but you can add specific events. So let's just say we wanted to see how many people added to cart, right? So we could do add to cart here, and we could do purchase here. So Baidu, they had all that traffic, 77 100 sessions and they had 2 add to cart events and 0 purchases. That's terrible. If I was on the Google merch store team, I would be looking into this for sure. Don't know what's going on there. And then you can see Bing, they had 50 add to carts, 2 purchases, 4 add to carts from Yahoo, so on and so forth, right? So you can see this session key event rate. Remember that this can be inflated if you don't have a specific, like this includes view item. People that view an item, it's considered a key event. I don't know. That's just how this account is set up. So I would change this to purchase. And you can see the session key event rate for Google is by far the highest. You can see the revenue, right? So this is just at a session level. So sessions that come from Google, this is about, you know, their performance. If you wanted to take it a step further, which I highly recommend, you can bring in landing page and query string. And now we could get even more specific. So if I change this to like revenue, for instance, we can see that this is the home page. Session key event rate is not quite 1%. Landing on a product, 20%. Landing on a product, 50%. Landing on a product, 50%. Landing on a product, 2%. Yeah, so you can go through here and see like which pages are performing well, right, by revenue or whatever. I mean, even if you're looking at traffic, you know, do by sessions. The most sessions people are landing on this product page, this Dino collectible, the Chrome Dino, right? If there's no landing page, a few different things could be happening here. Generally, though, if there's no landing page, it just means the session refreshed. So, but it kept its session source medium. Yeah. And then yeah, you can go through here. So again, this is the session level, right? Which can be helpful. You can also in here, if you've connected your search console, you can come in here and see your search console reports. Basically, really the only thing though that you're going to see in here that you didn't is if you go to the organic search traffic, and then you can type in, or you can like see your key events in here. So, but this is the same thing that we just saw up here. Yeah. And then something that gets overlooked a lot is this advertising section. So what we just looked at was like at the session level, how is organic like impacting everything. But if you come into the advertising section, now a quick note on the advertising section, in order for the advert, like to be able to even use the advertising section, okay, in order to be able to see this at all, you have to have key events marked and you have to be connected to a Google Ads account. You don't have to run Google Ads, but you do have to have it connected to a Google Ads account, okay? So mine is connected to a Google Ads account. My Beast Analytics, I've never run a Google ad, but it's just so I can see this. Okay, so if you go to the attribution paths, excuse me, you're going to get something that looks like this, which is the closest thing to the multi-channel funnels that we had in Universal Analytics. So you come in here and now I can change this to medium, right? So again, we know that the only medium that has organic in it for us in this instance is organic search. So I can change this to medium. You can't do source and medium. You can't do campaign. You can only do one at a time. Don't know why. Again, I don't make the rules. So, but this will show you what that conversion path looked like. So I'm going to change this back to purchases. So at the very top, it shows you how many key events you're looking at. If you click on this 1 out of 3 key events, you can select a specific key event and it's going to change out these numbers. Okay, so we can see that 132 times people came from organic once and purchased. And It made us $18,000. It took them about 3 days to do, but there was only one touch point. So if their session refreshed, but like they didn't come from a different place, I guess. I don't know. This days to key event thing is weird. I don't know. I mean, obviously I wouldn't take it as 100% truth, but you can even read it right here. It says the number of days when the ad interaction happened until the conversion. So, you know, but really what I'm looking at is all like how organic search impacts the user journey. So we can see that a lot of times they come to the site organically once and they're cool to just go ahead and make a purchase. Like that's actually one of the most common paths that people take. And then we can see that 35 times they came to the site organically twice. That's what this times two means. And then they purchased. And then 7 times they came to the site organically 3 times and then purchased. And then we start seeing things like this. Now, these are the things that really are interesting to me. So we can see that they came from CPC once, and then they came back to the site via organic and purchased. And this happened 9 times for $1,000. So pretty high order values. And then you see this 43% and 57%. So that means 43% of the conversion is being attributed to CPC and 57% of the conversion is being attributed to organic. So when you're in your session, attribution reports and you see that there was like 1.6 conversions, it's because they're looking at the percentages of the conversions and multiplying it by the number of conversions, so on and so forth. And that's how you get that like point whatever conversions. So this is a part of that data-driven cross-channel attribution where Google is going, okay, so they came from CPC and then they did X, Y, and Z on the site, then they left. But it was like a pretty engaged session. But obviously they didn't make the purchase. So then the next time they came to the site and then they did Z, A, B, and C, and they actually purchased. And so they get a little bit more of the pie, whatever. So maybe there was some research done on the site and then they left and then they did a little bit more research and then ultimately ended up purchasing. And that's why organic is getting 57% of the conversion, right? And we can go and go and go and go and go. So it looks like they are running CPC on this account. And there is one right here. So 51, so 4.7% of all of the purchases were people coming from a CPC ad once. And then we have the next time we see CPC is with organic and then CPC times 2, but organic CPC, organic CPC, organic CPC, organic CPC, organic CPC. Right. So my thing would be you can't run CPC without having a good SEO strategy because it's very clear for this client specifically that the two are working together. More so CPC is piggybacking off of organic. Now, what we can see here though, so this is interesting. Let's just chat about this. You can see it says organic times 10. They came to the site organically 10 times, but it got 0% of the conversion. They came through from CPC twice and they got 100% of the conversion. So either these sessions weren't engaged, they didn't have any meaningful interaction. I don't know. This is like it's data driven cross-channel attribution, right? So the data driven indicates it's kind of like algorithmic. So we don't know, just like every other algorithm that Google has, we don't know how they came up with that. So there's no telling, but just some things to think about is you definitely want to see how it's impacting the overall journey, right? So I'm definitely sharing this with clients if they're wanting to see the impact of organic. So we know that there were 1,086 purchases. If I add in a filter, oh, I can't filter it here. Okay, so I do actually have though a Google Sheet where if you download this data, I can't do it from here because I don't own this account, but if you download this data, upload it into a Google Sheet, you can kind of reformat everything and see what percentage of key events organic touched, because obviously you would have to otherwise go through and do all this math. So I will add that in the comments at some point, not right now because I have to go find the sheet, but all right. Okay, so I did get a comment just now. Hey Bree, do you know what the new conversion performance tab is that's in the advertising section? Yeah, so if we go into this advertising section here and we see conversion performance. So this is based off of your yeah, so this is okay. That's right. I was kind of confused there for a second. Yeah, this is based off of your Google Ads conversions. So this is really looking at where those conversions that you've created in Google Ads, what they're being attributed to. Let me see. So selected conversions attributed to Google Ads Store NA. So this account, if we change it to this, so you'll be able to see all of your linked accounts, right? And you'll be able to click on any of these. So let's go in here and you can see that we had all of these conversions, but none of them were, oh, well, that's weird. Oh, none of them were related to this specific account. So I wonder, so purchase all. So if we come in here, let's go through and add all these purchases. Yeah. So this is where those so before we selected this conversion, right? When we were back in here and we just had these purchases set up, it's saying, hey, for this specific account, you have this conversion set up, but you didn't get any conversions like attributed to this specific account, right? So, maybe they weren't running ads in this account, or maybe their ads that they were running in this account just weren't that effective. But nothing was attributed. These are all of the conversions. That's what this blue line is. And then the ones attributed to this account, which is just zeros. So if we come into this US and Canada account, they only have one conversion in here, but this is that purchase conversion. If I click apply, it shows, okay, these are all of the purchases that you've had. And this is how many of those conversions were attributed to a campaign that you were running in that account. And so you can see right here, it says 41 of them came from this account, which is about 60% of this paid search channel grouping. And then the cross network, about 1.28. So all of them came from this account. Yeah, so it's really something that you use with your Google Ads, conversions for testing and all that. So good old zero on this one too. It looks like this is the only account where they're doing something meaningful, I suppose. Hope that helped. All right, well, I have hit my goal is to do this for about 30 minutes at first, unless I get any more questions or anything. I'm hoping to do this again next Friday. So if you have any questions before next Friday, let me know. As always, if there's some sort of update, we will cover that first. But I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out.